You're on.
Good afternoon, fellow Tea Partiers. My name is Aracelia Vila. I'm a member of the steering committee of the Fallbrook Tea Party. And I volunteered to take on one of the proposals that are in the ballot because we figure that everybody's wondering what they really mean and how good or they are not for this country. So I took it upon myself to do a little research on Proposition 15. And boy, did I get a surprise. The title of Proposition 15 is California Fair Elections Act. That sounds very good. Well, it sounds very good until you start reading what it means. Because if enacted, this proposition will assess fees on registered lobbyists in California and use those fees to fund the campaigns for candidates running for office. They are doing it as a pilot test only for the position of Secretary of State in 2014 and in 2018. So it means that after 2018, it would expire. However, the proposition has a permanent ban on the rule to prohibit public funding of campaigns for office. And that would be a permanent ban that will undo 20 years of California voters' will not to have public funding for campaigns. Actually, if you do a little bit of research, as recently as 2006, California voters voted by a margin of 24% not to allow public financing of campaigns. And that had been done already again in 2000. So this is a sneaky, behind the door kind of attempt to use lobbyists, which in this moment are not very popular, to say, oh, let's get the lobbyists to pay for public financing. But because it has this severability clause in it, when it expires, then what? In addition to that, if the courts were to find that this law is unconstitutional because lobbyists in California are already prohibited from contributing to candidates, guess who gets stuck with the bill? It would be taxpayers, because there are provisions in there that clearly state that if the funds are not sufficient or if the state runs out of funds, the general fund can be used to fund this campaign. So this is really a tax increase by any other name. It's being disguised as we want to eliminate the influence of special interests in elections and on candidates, but that's not really true because it's full with loopholes, and actually trade unions or corporations or whoever can really contribute to, for example, different activities like the inaugural party, the legal defense of candidates. There are all kinds of exceptions on which candidates can raise money for individuals. So it doesn't do that. It raises taxes. In addition to that, we have a problem that there are no restrictions, no indications on how the candidates can spend the money, so it can be used for all kinds of mischievous purposes, such as negative ads and negative campaigns and junk mail. The most important thing is that because it's only a pilot test for the Secretary of State in 2014 and 2018, if it expires, and it expires then, it would mean that it would be taxpayers funding campaigns and leaving untouched a number of loopholes where candidates can still raise funds. So we very strongly believe that this is a misleading, sneaky, almost cynical attempt to undo the voters' will, which has been stated for 20 years and as recently as 2006 and 2002. So I, for one, am definitely voting no on this proposition. I know many of my friends are voting no, and I encourage you to take a very clear look at it because you might decide to do the same. Thank you very much, and don't forget to mail in those ballots.
That was excellent.